Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you, Ben. Just want to start off by thanking our coaches and our staff. Recruiting is a team effort, and anytime you have an opportunity to have a signing day like we had today, there's a lot of people that played a major role in getting us through the finish line, including professors here on campus that gave us their time on Fridays and our academic support people. So again, when you bring people on your campus and recruit them, there's so many people behind the scenes that play a role in helping us really sell the brand of Maryland, the University of Maryland. So many people to thank. Our recruiting staff did a great job in the building of putting together great itineraries and plans for how to close the deal. So, Scott Chadwick, Will Christopherson, Marcus Berry, and all of their staff all played a major role. Shelton Ely as well as Abir Chaudhry, Abby Gorun. Try not to leave anybody's names off because they'll be upset. But, this is the day where you want to thank those people because so many little things go into this recruiting process. And, everybody talks about me as a closer and our coaching staff and how they recruit. But there's a lot of other people that played a major role in this. We signed a lot of high quality kids today. And as I've said to our staff, when you look at this class as a whole, and I think I've said this to each one of these guys, I really do see this class being kind of the DNA of the player driven culture that we're working to create here. There's a number of these guys that have served as team captains. Quite a few come from programs where they built their high school programs from the ground up, similar to what we're doing here at Maryland. And a lot of these guys, have shown tremendous leadership qualities. And, this class may not rank as high as maybe some of the other classes that we've had before, but I can tell you when it comes to character, leadership, the intangibles that it takes to create a player-driven culture, I feel really, really good about this class and each and one of these guys that make it up. We kept a lot of local talent home, which is our goal. The goal is to keep the right local talent here. We won't get them all, but we need to make sure we get the right ones. And I feel like we did just that as a staff. That's always a priority. I'm also excited that we have 9 guys enrolling early, mid-year enrollees, and 4 of the 9 are offensive linemen, which allow us to really replenish and add to that room, which to me is the maybe the last piece or the missing piece to us taking that gigantic step that we want to try to take this upcoming season. And to be able to have these guys here to go through spring ball up front, get into a jump start on lifting, conditioning, and training will be really beneficial for our program as we continue to grow this thing. So with that, I'll open it up to questions from you guys.
Thanks, Coach. Reminder, if you have a question, please send me a chat. We'll start with Ahmed Gafir.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, getting a chance to add Jason Barham, Andre Roy this morning, just 2 big elite guys, and for them to be local, for them to come out of St. Francis. I mean, how did that happen? And then what is the magnitude of those 2 signings?
How did it happen? A lot of hard work, pretty much a sleepless night. I can't tell you that I had any idea that it would happen, or, none of our coaches could say that we knew this would happen. But as with all our recruiting, our coaches just continue to remain very diligent in selling the Maryland brand. And, we've recruited those guys for 2-3 years now. There's some deep-rooted relationships that were already established. A guy like Elijah Brooks, who recruited him, or if they could recruit, I don't want to get him in trouble at DeMatha, but recruited him to DeMatha and has known him since, 6th grade. I've always told you guys about third-party validation, and for us here locally to have people that would stand in the gap for us to sell what great things we've done when we've been associated with some of these third-party individuals really, I think, is what pushed it over the edge. I know both sets of parents would have loved to see their kids stay close to home. They both made decisions early on, and I think as they got closer to signing day, they started to see the value of what staying at home looks like But I also think us being able to show that as a program, we did take a significant step with our program by becoming a bowl eligible team and getting into this cycle, along with the addition of Jones Hill House, our new facility, really gave us gave us a lot of firepower in terms of being able to continue to press those guys and sell the the vision I have for Maryland football.
We'll go to Alex Dacey next.
Hey, Coach, just to kind of follow up on that, obviously St. Francis is a big power, and these are kind of the first two really big guys you've been able to get from there. What's kind of the importance of being able to get a foot in the door, at a place like that, recruiting wise?
Yeah, you know what, Alexander? I mean, I've had great success recruiting St. Francis over the years, wherever I've been, and I don't want to discount the guys we have in our program from there. Ja'Kai Green, TJ Butler, Joe Burns, are all guys that played and were part of building that great program that Coach Masai Halariam, a former Maryland football player, has built along with Biff Poggi, who I have a lot of respect for both those guys who've served as head coaches. And, I think they all know the brand that we have here and what we're building. We continue to develop great relationships with these high school area coaches to show them that, as the flagship university, we're doing our part to go out and recruit each and every high school in this state that has Division I talent. And, our coaches continue to do a great job of selling the Maryland brand to the high school kids and coaches that are here. And, to be able to get, Jay Sean and Andre Roy out of there, those are two of the right guys. I talked about us, getting some local players, but it's about getting the right local guys and, us trying to develop our offensive line position as well as our linebacker position. Those were major needs for us. And those are two of the top players in their position groups from this area. So to be able to close the deal and find a way to get those guys to believe in the vision we're selling is great for Maryland football.
We'll go to Emily.
Now that you've got these guys, I mean, where's the focus turn in terms of still filling up the remaining spots, probably with the transfer portal, the next signing period? What are you going to focus on there?
Yeah, the good thing is these numbers are moving targets. Everybody likes to ask how many we have left, and we have kind of an idea, but there's a lot of moving parts with roster management is really, really important. And, as I said before, the transfer portal is a good thing for both players and coaches because of the immediate eligibility. I think you'll see 10% of your roster leave every year. Just like I've said before, you'll lose a couple of coaches every year. It's just the nature of the business. So for us, we'll continue to, look at the transfer portal. There's also some high school kids that did not make decisions early that we've had visit us. So we'll continue to recruit those guys. And, usually the brunt of our class will be signed like it was today in the early signing period. But we'll continue to try to find any player that can help us improve our roster and give us the best chance to continue to build our program.
We'll go to Wes Brown.
Hey, Coach. So obviously, Octavius Smith is a guy who sort of went off the board in the summer and then sort of, became available later on. What sort of went into the chase to get him, and what kind of stuff on and off the field made him kind of, like you mentioned, a guy from a local high school that you wanted to bring in?
Yeah, his recruiting process was fairly unique in that, he in between, we were changing receiver coaches at the time. And, I think we offered him sometime in late March, early April. He ran a bunch of really fast times at the track meet. Some coaches at his high school, Coach Neesmith has always been a great supporter of myself and Maryland football as one of the top high school programs in the country. The thing about Octavian's recruiting process is that he really, really put a lot of thought into it. I mean, he's a high academic kid that obviously looked at a bunch of the high academic institutions like the University of Maryland. As he said in his video, didn't necessarily get off to the best foot early. He made a commitment there to Northwestern. And I think one of the things we continue to do is even when a kid commits to another program, we're very respectful of their commitment. We're not like a bugaboo group that are, we don't start attacking other schools and negative recruiting. That's not who we are. We congratulate them, but we also say, hey, if it's okay, we like to just kind of touch base with you off and on. And that way, if something changes, we like to continue to recruit you. And I think that really worked well there for him, because when he made the decision to, decommit and open up his recruiting process, we've got a lot of people in that building that are huge Maryland fans and want to support us. And he came and gave us a look. I got a chance to get his mom on the phone and talk to his dad and all the people that are important to him in his life. And, he's one of those guys that's going to make the right decision. And, he put a lot of things down on paper. He knows what he was looking for. And then when they came on their official visit, I think that just solidified for him, his mom, and his family that Maryland offered all the things they were looking for. And so we got us a great leader, a guy that led the Paint Branch program, I think, to a semifinal appearance. A big time. He was a quarterback in high school, so he's got great leadership skills. We obviously are transitioning him to the receiver position, where we lose 4 or 5 guys at that position, and we're adding a really talented playmaker on the offensive side of the ball with Octavian.
We'll go to Scott Green next.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Scott.
One of the late additions here today was Max McCree. He's a JUCO. So can you kind of talk about, what went into landing him, and then how important it is to kind of have a more experienced offensive lineman in this class?
Yeah, we were looking for either experienced JUCO players or transfer portal guys. And, obviously there's still some of those transfer portal guys out there that we feel can come in and help us early. And, Max has a unique story in that, he's a junior college player, but he was a qualifier out of high school. And he actually has 4 for 3 years. And we've been able to find these guys, the last few years where they come in and they have more than 2 years of eligibility. And he's a guy that was highly rated and highly evaluated out of junior college, one of the top JUCO tackles in the country. And when we got him here on campus, we liked his size. We think his best football is still ahead of him because we feel like he has the framework to be able to put some size, mass, and strength on. And, with the type of eligibility he has, it's not necessarily important that he has to come in and play right away. But, I think he definitely has the skill set that we're looking for to be able to improve our depth and add to our offensive line room.
We'll go to David Barnes.
Coach, to follow up on the question about the offensive line, how are these guys that are coming in, how do they reflect any changes maybe you thought over having seen what the Big Ten is like, the defensive line and maybe the bigger guys in the offensive line you've played up against? So where is your sort of recruiting thoughts changed now in your third year?
Yeah, our recruiting thoughts haven't changed. We had a system that we put in when we got here. It wasn't my first rodeo being in the Big Ten, so I knew it was important to increase our size, strength, and power on the O-line and D-line. We addressed the D-line last year in recruiting. It's not something that you can kind of do in one big recruiting class. And so we've had a plan on how we were going to attack it. And as you'll see this year, we're heavy loaded on offensive tackle body types. We haven't had a bunch of tackle bodies. We added DJ Glaze a year ago. And some of the other tackles we took ended up being guards. So if anything, the premium was taking length as well as guys that had the size potential to add weight and strength and power and all these guys. I mean, when you look at Andre Roy, you look at Maximus McCray, you look at all these tackles bodies that we took, each and every one of those guys, Nonar from down there and Kendrick, both have good size, really broad frames, long arms, the things you look for in young linemen that I think, you'll have a chance to build on.
Does anyone have anything else? All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys. Have a happy holidays if I don't see you.
Thanks, everyone.